and I no paying kumai ba betweno or beboa papa, especially if you are going to get yourself into a relationship, and also if you are in a relationship and you want to exit. How should you prepare yourself mentally? Remember, this is the month of love. And if you get such information, and I no pay 6 days for us to get into Valentine, or beboa papa, you're going to have your first date come 14th. But how prepared are you psychologically? And also, if you are in a relationship and you want to exit, how should you prepare yourself? This is very important. Your friend in Komoi wa between mesredu biara. But not say now I didn't wait. I have with me my very old buddy. I like him so much. You know, he's a clinical psychologist and also a doctor. Our friend Isaac Newman seated right here with us this pleasant Monday morning to tell us more. But before we get on, baby is looking fantastic in Nanope. Baby.
Hi.
Why, Papa?
Good morning.
I love
Good
your
morning.
color, man.
No, you don't.
I
Stop
do.
lying.
When you walked in, I said blue.
That doesn't mean you like it. Don't lie. I don't like it.
No, I've never seen you in blue like this before, like real blue.
Why are you lying?
No, that's the gospel truth. How are you?
Don't mind him. I'm fine. I'm fine. Good morning, everybody. He's always seeing me in blue and black, and what he really likes me wearing is black. He says it. So I don't know why he's trying to be blue this very wonderful, not blue Monday.
Outfit. Beautiful.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Baby Dapa, and from me, welcome to the Max Morning Show. Lots to be said on the show. And I'm fan chame. Enra. Ukodi aduane bi wo ba bia nkan wasi medi. Me am nhye den didi abonten. Aduane na me kokodi ye na anya me ye krak ntene no maye blue. So pardon me, but in Komani Ababe, you know, actually not do me good, it would do me good, however it is, but yen na ebesiade. So I don't know why months of love, let's talk about. I like it clinically because then you're not doing come for people's sanity. When we say sanity, you'll be all the more say bia okobi bimu. We are talking about relationship. I don't know why when everybody talks about a relationship, they go straight into the part where there's boyfriend, girlfriend, there's mother, there's husband, wife. I mean, friendship can be a sort of relationship. People go into friendship when you'll be cool, you'll be a number, and then they fall out. And when they fall out, any parents will fall out. You know, na dreamu na basa and all of that. So let's look at different relationships. People have relationships with their aunts, relationship with their uncles, relationship with their obi wa se me wofa ba be family akure me wofa ba be family akwa abuchi wofa mai inti ama waye basa obe wona afide nrubo ne niama. There's so many things that are happening. I hope I am catching the drift. But there's a doctor here. Yes, people think that love doesn't need a doctor, but there's a doctor here, and like Alex said, we will have to talk about this. And when he said was he doing come 14 February na ebe nyama amobeye nyama awobeye mewofie nyama awobeye ebe wie na be 17th 18th for no na nsem na metia na send me messages ni DM me betina show you so am class as ho asem na wo ka relationship ho asem, you know, and all of that. Thank you to Real Boss Boutique. My number is 0244 0244 Real Boss Boutique ewo Kwashiman School Junction. So we do Kwashimana Palace no opposite pe obehu Real Boss Boutique. When I'm talking about Valentine, I'm talking about Real Boss Boutique. Because you find the nicest reds and the nicest white. I don't know what you're going to wear on Valentine, but usually you find people wearing white or red. Yeah, they're black now, but white or red. But whatever it is, go to Real Boss Boutique. Nako Pentaria Efe. Alex, I catch you about Yokojo shoes or something good coming up for you. Yeah. 14 February, I think sales will be happening. Or better to super discount some sort of percentage. I will be to me at all. Let's move on to the conversation, isn't it? Okay. Yeah. So, Alex, Love.
Yeah, love. Love is very
I like Dr.
complicated.
Love, so I think this
No, 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 no,
conversation
no.
will be up
Hold
for.
on, hold on. Not the way that people perceive it, but I have found out that in order for me to give love, I got to love myself first. You understand? I found out that being single is like the first thing that each and every one of us have to really know or do before we even get into any relationship with anybody. So love there, it's a long journey. Although that's a long journey.
Wow. Doc,
Dog.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
I'm,
you.
I'm hearing that you've been here, but I wasn't here.
You're late.
I was late.
You're late.
No, I'm late in in meeting you. Trust. This time I would actually soak everything possible. They didn't tell me what you spoke about anyway, so I will soak everything possible. I like the fact that we're talking about the mental health concerning people's emotions, and I mean kind of say people's
Yeah.
emotions and how they deal with the aftermath of certain emotions that I don't know. Some was, some news, ya was, ya mamenka or something like that. But let's begin with sanity. How do people lose their sanity? First of all, that's a weird question, but how do people lose their sanity concerning emotions?
I wish we would not use the word sanity.
Yes, please
because,
give me a word.
Usually, when you say sanity, people go into
Madness.
something like, like schizophrenia or psychotic problems.
Indeed.
So generally, we can say people's on three levels: a person's thinking, feelings, and behavior. Send your dream far.
Emotions.
How do people lose?
Any suban or danidi.
Okay.
So your thinking, feelings, and emotion. Any kind of dysfunction on these three levels, we can say feelings and emotions.
Is there a difference between emotions and feelings, or
They are the same.
they're the same?
They're the same.
Okay, so
we can even use affect.
Okay.
We can use mood.
Okay, mood.
So
mood.
affect, mood, and all that.
Okay.
People use interchange, but technically, when it comes to mental health, there are some kind of distinctions.
Okay.
But generally, your emotions, everything else, your affect, your mood, your feelings, virtually emotions.
All right.
So all the three levels, your thinking, feelings, and behavior, and how well those things are, and how they are affecting your functioning. It is will be sanity. We're looking at the three levels, to see whether there's some impairment in those three levels and how it's affecting the person.
Okay.
Will it be like the soul? Is that the soul that you're talking about?
So
yeah.
The soul is the seat of a person's emotions, a person's will and intellect. So that one too. In the moment you mention soul, we branch a bit into spirituality and things like that, because it's on that level that we talk about the soul. But the soul, your will, intellect, and your emotions. So that aspect of your life is where mental health, falls in.
Okay. Anyway, I'm mentioning common and some bridge. Hey, my basa. Intino. What? Drew. When do we say and I say baby say obi ebia yen kind of raw say bia obi every relationship obi mu na I say ofri mu no ama the suban bi a wo dey di no nhye den sisi so se me kan yi the way I will see funny nipa edinkita ho so asesa afi kra de wasi ni tirimu po wani ama bebre ho media me nye se biem media me nye se biem mehunu ba bi kra ma obi namwa wo se tota bia no waye dini obetimi ayedin uyi frim ba bi so obi so nam sa okasa na no omodam sebe omodam kra oba okasa na no sa na bibi kitikiti bi kra na obeka de akofra asem bi a atono like asem dada bi esi a obi anim se bi a sebi oni rafi but obeka asem na no de for ontimi enyamu. That is why what I want to know. Mijidi say wants to know how that comes about and what can be done.
Okay, so who can you bebre?
Because na economy.
Okay, let me break it down. Those who have been listening, anytime I come here, I talk about everything you said is mental health.
Okay.
Now, what can is a person's mental health. Now, it's on three levels: how you think, how you feel, and how you behave. When we say health, there are 4 levels: physical, mental, social, and spiritual. Yɛka obi wa apɔmuden a ebia nipa korɔ no ne ho kokwa no otumi yɛ ne ɛsɛ ɔyɛ nneɛma ɛwɔ around no, the person is able to manage things. Ɔno ankasa oba na bra boma the niji, things are well with the person. You know, so 4 levels: your physical, mental, social, and spiritual. That is health. Into eno ene defining obi in terms of various levels of the person. You can group every human experience under these 4. Into physical no, enyoma enuhu udu unsa tumika. Into, for example, we ba hospital ebi anwa yeshe ni BP kosro ni sugar kosro. All those ones are a measure of a person's physical well-being. Na kuma ye ni ya ni yemu ye ni ya orane eni ni ade no is part of a person's health. It's physical. Okay. And usually, so because of yarea, they are talking about their physical well-being. Usually,
yes, usually.
You know, if for example, and the one be Juma, you say, "Oh, me yare." Usually, no, you'll be complaining about physical health issues.
Yes.
Oh, maybe I'm stressed, so I'm not coming to work, because they don't know that it's part of health. Oh, into physical, but mental health, you know, any social and spiritual, they are also part of your well-being. It's not just the person's physical well-being. We're looking at all the other dimensions. But when it comes to mental health, enono is on the level of how you think, how you feel, and how you behave. Adria wofa atinka wunya any subanya wudanedi affect uno is on the level of mental health. And that affect uno and is on 4 levels. So is that thinking or feelings or behavior causing distress? Say ebia senya wo dwinfa atinka wunya na subana wudanedi no. Is it causing you some pain? It can be physical or emotional pain. Inti ebia ora ho wakoma ye oya bibiesi ase waboto eye oya. It means you have a thinking, feelings, and behavior that is affecting you. 2, is it causing dysfunction? Because of the way I was doing you can't go about your normal activity day to day. Into sorry, you don't even feel like getting up. You don't feel like going to bath. You don't feel like coming to work. Because of how you're thinking that morning or how you feel that morning, and it's affecting your behavior. And again, yes, is it causing damage? Your thinking, feelings, and behavior, is it causing damage? That means that because of that. Your relationships are affected. Your work is affected. Your education is affected. Your career is affected. You know, there's 2 words we use: absenteeism and presenteeism. Absenteeism is the one big Juma.
Presenteeism.
You are not effective.
I think
you are not functioning well.
60% is presenteeism.
You know, and who say your thinking, your feelings, and your behavior is affecting your functioning. And also, is it deviating from social norm? That's the 4th one. What it means is that in any social space, for example, Max TV say, there's a standard, there is an expectation in terms of behavior. Ubia fall in line. But anybody who is struggling to fall in line, because of how they think, feel, and behave, they are not well. The question is, that why? The question is that why is the person not falling in line? Into a nyoma Uber describe it as bad. It's a health issue. Or a bad boy. You are describing a certain behavior as bad. It's part of a person's health, which is under mental health. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because on the level of thinking, feelings, and behavior, when you go into anybody you describe as bad, the bad behavior you are seeing is only a product of many deep-seated problems.
Okay.
Until you have a conversation, you will not know.
You will not know. Okay.
For example, you see someone beating the wife. It goes beyond the man who wants to beat the wife.
So when you say he's a violent man,
it started from somewhere. Abusers are not raised overnight. They are raised daily.
Yes.
Things happen. So the things like, or a bad girl. No, forget about the behavior. Why is the person behaving that way? So behaviors are always in a certain context. In Ghana, Ghana. Oko US cry or a Ghanaian.
near.
So or start cries or you slangs cry na unzo or a Ghanaian. Nigeria say because society has a way of shaping people, and the society you are in, we tend to blend in. We tend to have a common way of behaving. Even in Ghana, Northerners have a peculiar behavior.
Yeah.
Ghanaians have a peculiar behavior. Fantis have a peculiar behavior. So anybody who is deviating from social norms and is negative,
It's not well.
the person is not well. Why? The question is why. And if you have a conversation with the person, you will know. And no, all these issues about love, Valentine, whatever, it's on the level of thinking, feelings, and behavior. If you look at, you can categorize every single thing under these three things. And it's a function of a person's mental health.
Shremadio. So yankasa kojira wo HR ni masabi we na koka say na mintimi madumade ntia me bodam. Because you are trying to say okay, you're not physically home far, but
For, even for the person to go and say that, why?
On your well.
No, the question is why. If the person is well, they would want to come to work.
Yes.
They would want to do their job.
Yes.
They would want to follow the rules. What can one by 8, I'll be by 8. On fear 10, or be fear 10. Oba on lazy around, won't give or flimsy excuses not to come to work. If someone is doing that in the workplace, the question is why? The why may be deep-seated problems you are not, even the person may not be aware of. And that is why therapists come in. Therapists come in to make you aware of what your behavior is and where the likely problem is coming from. And if you understand this, you realize that in relationships, you have two people, very, very complex and unique people, trying to make sense out of a small space. Very difficult. Because before we share, of baby no oba. What attracted you to the person is only the good thing. May I say, everybody has a baggage and a garbage. Baggage is the good stuff, garbage is the bad stuff. And it came from somewhere. And so with that understanding, you would have to even be able to be careful who you even entertain around you. Because who you choose is what you get. So it's not about the person, it's about you making the wrong choice. It's as simple as because one also what to say bibi. Obisu to say bibi. And the two of you have decided to come together. Right? Nyotina naughty.
What you choose is what you get.
Oh,
the conversation now,
who you choose is what you get.
Who you choose?
You can't choose a rascal and get a saint. It doesn't work that way.
So that idea now, Crawford camp, all the time, say, I'm just saying it because I see social media, and everybody is turning to motivator, philosopher. You read a whole lot of things. I used to think it was Google, but Charlie, right now, everybody Google. Everybody is individual Google. You see people like trying to fix people. I don't know how you try to fix people. People say that, Michelle not to say so best. Possible na sana wo can say who you choose is what you get, Not just say how do you say it? There's no change. Onipa ntimi ends na nipa ntimi nsesa nipa na. So
the ability to change or ability to your friend is saying submit yourself to change is where the problem is.
Okay.
Anybody can change, but not everybody is willing to change.
Okay.
And you know by people's statements, actions. When you bring up an issue, is the person ready for correction? For example, maybe you don't dress well. Are you willing to learn how to dress well? That is where the problem is. There are two people. Anytime there is a good relationship, two people who are ready for some adjustment, some change. There are things you cannot change. There are things you can change. Some of the things you cannot change is essentially who a person is on the level of their personality and stuff like that. You can't make a quiet person a lively person.
Or a talkative?
Yes. Me, for example, I'm very, very lively. I'm sure now you can't even know.
Yeah.
I'm very, very, very lively, right? I'm all over the place. That is who I am from childhood. My wife cannot change it. So that liveliness is not wrong. but the dysfunctions of that liveliness can be changed.
Dysfunctions.
What it means is that, for example, if you meet someone with a personality type like maybe sanguine, sanguines are the laughable, lovable people. They're all over the place. They make friends easily. You know, they are all over. You know, there are people like that, but they don't keep to time. They are kind of messy because they are bored with one-way things. So you go to a sanguine room, things may be all over the place, and they enjoy that variety. You go to a melancholic, the pepper kind of people, they will arrange the plates. They will iron their bed sheets. A sanguine may even not notice that the bed sheet is not ironed.
Yeah.
You see, so now the question is that that is a dysfunction with a sanguine. So that aspect, you can change in those dysfunctions or those weaknesses in your personality type so that you can accommodate another person. But the essential nature of a sanguine, lively, moving around, you cannot change it. Because the moment you want to force it on them, they lose who they are and they lose their uniqueness to perform. Nice. For example, you are dating someone who is quiet, into themselves. They don't initiate things like, let's say, flex. Flex are really not, they don't really have energy for a lot of things. They are more into themselves. They are the peace, lovable people. Anything goes. They may not initiate anything in a relationship. When you initiate, they will flow. They are very, very peaceful. You can do whatever you want to do. So far as you come home, I don't care. Or so far as it doesn't affect me significantly. So you may find people like that very peaceful. Not because they have not noticed, but they won't talk about it because it won't affect them. It won't hear. If a flag has a problem with you, they are likely not to say it there and then.
So then people will, if you are dating somebody like that, overfeel the person doesn't care.
Yeah, it's not that he doesn't care. On can was him. Oh, maybe the conditions around is not conducive, so let me wait 4 days. When everything has calmed down, then I talk about it. There are people like that.
Okay.
You cannot change that nature. But the dysfunctions in that personality is what can be modified. I hope you understand.
Yes.
So who you choose is what you get. That's what I mean. And again, too, there are certain characters or behaviors that have been built over years. You may meet someone who, for example, a man who loves home things, would want to come home, would want to come and help with everything. The cooking, they will do it. Even if the person won't cook, they will want to go to the market with you. Like me, for example, I don't cook, but I go to the market. Right? My wife can tell me, oh, Charlie, I will do it because I love doing it. I would want to even clean the plates after she finished cooking. And I even love doing that. Or washing and stuff like that. There are men who want to share because growing up, that is how they've been raised. There are women who growing up, they've learned how to do all those things. So it comes okay, it's so easy for them. But you may meet someone who virtually does not like any of those things. Because growing up, that is who they have. Adults are a reflection of their childhood. If the person have been cooking all their life, cooking in marriage won't be a problem.
Yes.
If they've been tidying, it won't be a problem. So whilst you are dating the person, all those things will come up. Nobody will say he wasn't like that when I married him. No, it was there, but you're not paying attention. Or you had snippets of it, but you ignored. Or you were not paying attention enough. Because those things don't hide. Now it becomes magnified in marriage. But you may find people divorce before they marry.
As someone who can treat mommy and cover me the part
because people do what?
Say subana
divorce before they marry.
Mami she say meti me akai na wo kan na wo kira wo say suban na or dead di kire wo no enye suban a e bia wo no e bia ware na wo say oh say na wote na say e wo hodeda na wo na wan pan hwe ana
wan pan hwe wa nyoma na wo focus on and yeah, in your mind, important.
Important.
Before marriage, sex is not important. And all those fun, though it's okay, but it's not.
It's not.
The essential things are ever sustaining marriage. People don't focus on that. So they're actually enveloped or overwhelmed or engulfed with all the nice things about life, forgetting the realities of life. That is where the problem is.
Isaac, in relationship, that must be I feel like You know, why do people take so long to discover certain subain after
And a bit
cohabit? Yeah.
it may come up after marriage, but the majority of the problems you know. But in kakra, so if the person maybe before marriage, we can't throw en kakra, you ignore. And I say, oh, BBC na ni buefu kakra. Asem si nko ya bomasumu ba wanye, you know, or unzo is stingy. On sheda birthday cry and the beefy. You know, and I say nipa krono ne same okeka about things, about women, about housework, about those things. All those small things. Unfortunately, people give their hearts before knowing the person, before they make a commitment. So after 2 years of the studies, when they realize what they've discovered is not what they want, then they are in pain.
That is a good explanation. Now, the question is, when people choose people and get what they chose, na fe no on say asemesi ya meka fa na yi nya no na me pe na me feel say what is saying so on say not e mintimi ne ntena and I am funny po say oh makonya obi na ne niama ni we na it was good. A 60% is good. Enti no ewi akire no ebia bibia. Sometimes it was just the little things that come between people and now obia pene kwan afa. And then you meet another person. Akwashi Alex. Alex and so subanya or daddy, then you start to compare. That is where I'm coming from. And then obi ni obi ajai. Okofo obi fufro. After when we send okofa and also no, you know, my ex-boyfriend, no, yes, say, my ex-boyfriend. You know, people can leave that. And then I had a friend who say, she keeps saying that. I wonder why she's with me. Then she better go to the ex, you know, because you keep saying my ex was like this. So then why are you here? That comparison. What I'm asking is, we can't get everybody 100. And Isaac.
Okay.
We can't.
Okay, let me make two. Let me come from somewhere because of what you said a bit. There are 3 groups of people that you would have, you would meet throughout your life. And actually, God has a way of putting people in your life right from the time you are born. There are people who you will be meeting, right? And it's all divine. God has a way of arranging people around you. And people call them helpers, destiny helpers and those things, right? So your first helper is your mother. She carries you 9 months. Whatever happens to you in the womb affects you. So your mom. Then your father comes in, your siblings, your relatives, everybody comes in. As you grow older, you meet friends, you know, colleagues here and there. You meet people who are older than you and stuff like that. In this workplace, you may not hate anybody, but you don't flow with everybody. Not everybody will even be in your space because they are not part of your story. They are not supposed to. Right? So you meet people. They are, so everybody, all those things, it doesn't just happen. Sometimes you go for a program amongst all the thousands of people, just 1 or 2 people, you carry them along. It is just, sometimes even your classmates, in your classroom, you may be with people for 4 years, but never speak to them or even get close, but only few people. It's all part of the journey because we all need that socialization, people around us, to be able to fulfill destiny. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
Right? So there are 3 groups of people. The first group is what we call the mentors. Mentors are the ones who are above you. You look up to them. They are not your colleagues. You know, they are ahead of you. They give you a shoulder. They are above you to make progress. Then the next level is what we call the mates. Mates are your colleagues, the people who are on your level. Right? You flow with, you rub shoulders with them to move on. One of your mates is going to be your spouse. One of them.
Okay.
Then we have mentees. Mentees are also people who are below you and also look up to you. So these 3 groups of people, they are listed in your life as you go along. For example, I came to Mark. Someone invited me unexpectedly. I came to meet him. We are cool now. I've come to meet you. We are going to be cool because you're part of the story. If you don't become cool, it means you are not part of my story. It's okay. I hope you understand. And it's all divine. You have this connection. And all these people that you meet along, to maintain that relationship to some degree, there are 3 emotions that is likely to maintain. Actually, it's two, but one of them is pervasive. The first is what we call like.
Okay.
It's an emotion. Then the second is what we call love. It's also an emotion. Then the third, which is more pervasive, is lust.
Okay.
Lust. So like, love, and lust. I don't even know why all of them are L. But so like and love, they are more of positive emotional feelings. Lust is kind of pervasive because love and lust is only immediate gratification, right? Infantile language, anachi mono. Obika say, oh, me do, that is love. Obika say, me pewasem, that is like. Obika say, me pew, that is lust.
Me pew
pow. The moment someone say me pew, that means that neni ako bibi, which is more romantic, more your friend is saying, more desire.
Nti obi beka ibi search or so to make a choice what
I said straight away. Said,
what if the person doesn't understand that word? Okay.
But I was saying ko timi kase what do. Chance na obeka say me pew.
Obi beka o. The moment they start describing, they start talking that way, it means that they are more into the romance of that.
They're just
that
lasting
feeling.
okay.
Yes, it's just something. And unfortunately, people love that. When someone says, look at you. A lot of people like that. And that becomes the foundation of the relationship. And it's short-lived. The moment he or she finishes sleeping with you, it's like you become something to the person. The person moves on because that foundation wasn't good. But the two positive that last longer, like last long, the longest is love. I'm talking about the true, genuine love that you can't put a finger to. Like, it focuses on your strengths. Someone says, I like you. They are only, describing or have an emotional feel towards what is good about you. So like always has a description. Hey, I like him, pal. He's very, very kind.
Yeah.
Or so we describe people we like them.
Mm-hmm.
So there are people in your life who are telling you they love you, but it's actually like. Because they are only focusing on the good side. So the moment problems come, they move away. Because the good thing now is overshadowed by the negative things.
So the emotion love that you talk about, where likeness is attributed to adibi obi pe ewo wo ho. Say, oh, bray ye tenten pa me penasem. Eh, bray do etiado ana say be oh, bra we de nsem go ana unti me pena. Ti anye nsem ye den on penasem bi because one time.
Perfect.
See ade wajai ma nti no me onyada ne bio. Me dey bia me say me I can't say I like him say me yada o. But more so the emotion called love, yes. That is where we are gearing to this month. Everybody's talking about love, yes. Love. Somehow it's even likeness for some people, but they still call it love. Yes. Now, the emotion love, how do people, so because we do beer, okay, say you can put a finger.
Yes, into love, love. You see that even the English love, the word love, if you check the Greek translations of what love, English term love, it's in 4 levels. We have eros. Eros is more romantic love. So someone may say, Valentine, I love you. It's just eros. It's just lust or romantic love. So they want to just have their way with you. It's love. The English word actually abuses it. Then we have the filio, right? The filio is a friend then. It's between friends. So friend love. So you have a friend that you love, and it's just friendship. Then we have the, what do you call it?
Like I love and like.
Storge love. Storge love is amongst family members. So your the kind of love you have for your friend is not the same as a family member.
No.
It's different. So that is also a type of love. Then we have the agape, which is the unconditional love. Right? And so for every long-lasting kind of relationship, that is truly genuine love. It should be agape.
Okay. And agape intimacy.
No. So it's not about agape. The intimacy of agape is the genuine love intimacy. Okay. That is when, if you are not in the mood, the person would accept that you are not in the mood.
Oh.
Because for the person to have their way with you, even if you are not in the mood, it's not love.
Yeah.
So when love, sex even is a product of agape love, that sex is more considerate. It's not just lust, where you're having an anal sex with a woman and you know that it will hurt her, it would harm her. Very soon she'll start leaking feces and she says, I'm in pain, but you still have to force your way. That is not love. So love focuses on the true love, knows the weaknesses, knows the strengths, but says, I accept you anyway.
Accommodates.
Well, that is where the problem is. You see, when you find your true spouse, that love will be there.
Okay.
Because virtually it's God who is putting the two of you together. And that cord that sustains marriages for the longest is love. Where you have two, very independent people, yet dependent on each other. Two, weak people, yet forgiving each other. There's something you can't understand. It's just like a mother who really loves the child. The child, or Sebio, or Johnny Nine Krana, or Pepanu on Tuning. A mother may have a son who is smoking weed and still go and defend her in court and say, please don't throw him out. I love my son like that. Give him to me. It takes something more. And when you come to, religion, the kind of love like Jesus laying down his life for people who killed him. And says, Father, forgive them, for they know not. A certain love that you can even look at your enemy and say, I forgive you.
Unexplainable.
You can't explain. And that's why it's not there. Because you see, that kind of love, is divine. And it grows and it becomes more meaningful with time. And you can't explain. So you have a spouse where, in all their weaknesses, it's still them.
Okay. But
it takes a lot to
get into that. But
it's quite distorted. In their love, when people say it's quite distorted. And that is where the problem for most of the relationships are.
All right.
Let me make this point before I forget. Right. I talked about like, love, and lust.
Yes.
And I said that those three emotions, let's forget about lust because it's pervasive. Like and love, you would have like and love for all the three groups, whether mentors, mates, or mentees. Because you need the like or love to maintain a relationship.
With all three?
With all three people. The fact that you have that emotion for someone does not mean the person is your spouse.
Okay.
The person is just part of your story, a destiny helper. So, for example, I meet a girl growing up. The person is just supposed to be part of my story. Maybe a business partner. That is why God brought the person my way. And for any of them who comes my way, I would have either like or love for. But it doesn't mean the person is my spouse. Unfortunately, we misinterpret that emotional feeling for the fact that the person is your spouse. And you date them.
And marry them.
And that is where the problem is.
So
maybe the person was, God brought the person into your life just so that the person will be a business partner in the next 10 years. Or be the one to connect you to that job in the next 4 years. Or maybe the person whose status you read at the critical time of your life and be encouraged and not kill yourself. Or that person who would provide some level of financial support at some point in your life. That is why God bring them. But unfortunately, that like and love will be for all of them because you need that emotion to be able to maintain that relationship. But we date them.
All right.
And that relationship doesn't go well. And we break up in pain. And we lose our helpers through that. So that guy who was supposed to just be a business partner in the next 10 years, you mistaken his presence in your life as a spouse. You date the person, mess up with the person. The relationship doesn't go well.
And you lose.
You block them. You even curse them. You are destroying your future. That is one of the quickest way the devil takes away your help.
Yeah.
All right.
So then the person, then you become bitter.
Bitter. That relationship shouldn't have come up in the first place.
So then when you become bitter and you can't get over it, mental health,
problems.
Okay.
All right.
Now, you
All
share
right.
what friend day red flags
Yes.
before you step into a relationship.
Yes.
Why is it so difficult for people that you who red flags, but we still push forward? What what makes it that happen?
Well, probably two things. One, our own personal needs that the other person meets. So, for example, you meet this person, all the red flags are there, but because in the background,
Or boy can be so.
obo akwan bi so, and I say you like the person's presence, the person encourages you, you enjoy the person's company, the person is providing some. So our own unmet needs, and usually those unmet needs is a product of dysfunction in our childhood growth. If you meet a woman who is very, very confident about their beauty, they don't need the compliment of another person to feel good about themselves. If you meet a man who is very, very confident in their ability, someone growing up would have affirmed something in them that makes them very, very confident, right? So people are driven towards people who meet their needs because of dysfunction in their growth. So for men, 3 levels, core needs for every man: peace, pleasure, and support. Every man. Core need, peace. Every man is looking for peace. And that is why they will run away from a woman who doesn't give them peace.
Okay.
Every man is a pleasure seeking. That is why our eyes is the problem. Men are driven by sight. So anything that is pleasurable, you find a man there. And it's also, this morning I was looking at something, I realized almost all the scriptures about sex is about the man. I don't know why.
I don't know why. You should know why it's about you.
Men, so peace, pleasure, and support. Every man is looking for support. Every man, a score. Oba with your boy, papa, papa, support. Even respect is under peace. When you respect a man, you are giving him peace. So any need of a man, you can group them under these 3: peace, pleasure, and support. So for example, if a woman dresses well, a woman is tidying the home, it is nobody's responsibility to tidy a home. I don't believe that the woman is made for the home. So is the woman, I don't do that in my home. But when the home is neat, because the woman kept it neat, it gives the man some level of pleasure.
Yes.
It is not the responsibility of anybody to cook. But when the woman cooks, he's giving the man pleasure. So you realize that baby abema di dibiano or alcohol.
Now, Bema, most of the times, when yes, I'm coming. I know because people come. They come to me all the time and then be asking me questions I have no answers to, because for me, when I. I don't like stress. Stress is good, but excessive. And I'd like peace of mind. Oh, sadly, like I was giving you an example where somebody who has to work for me comes, or come 1, 2, 3, now I'm saying, well, I'm problem in the next 3 days. No, but I'm saying, let him go. And nobody understands. I say, you have to forecast. Issues, let him go. Now, the issue is people ask for things they do not give. People always want to, I'm talking about both men and women, whichever side, and they demand things they don't give. I have issues with anybody like that, man or woman. You are looking for support. Me pe oba obeboa me. Ensenka wo na wo ukura nka wo moa. Me pe bem obeboa me. I used to tell you that, look, me, I don't ask for something that I can give to myself. And your Valentine way there, was out to iPhone 14, mommy. Also granted me to Android in my Otia say me answer na maybe so ade na ade metimi ama me ho, but ase me ho akere me. Oh nti no sa no maintain beside there was one ma me ya me hu na me me ho, because I feel that me hu na akere me kanya sa me ya ama me ho. That would push you to go ask for support. Who be support na 100 cities, me kura 20. So mama. But people keep Valentine Baba emun tokwa ene madam fuwe ne boyfriend toka ama no ene wan to ama me unso unim se wo circle a wo man na se wo relationship na wo mu no enya ka se menu sa level no insetien na nya pese bio, But you know, we demand things that, and they be our Tonya mama, dear na won so why
Yeah.
dear mano. They be our no aduane ma, uni maduane no. Ade ne why late, unim so bebe fie bia na no ire netifi. They be our baba no aduane. And they be a traffic catch no. E bi so uni mangwamu you. Sa enu mezo ze mudi angwamu. Not one or train, or baby drew 10. Unim so beba no wabre. And so ebia wentimi anye na ye ntokwa bebre. Woti wo wunim pa se o senior manti onka mamenye de me hatam famwa no. There be nyama said, you know those things. You know that
And
those
that
things.
is why I talked about the fact that love, because in any marital relationship, if you love your wife, you won't stress her.
Yeah.
You know, if you believe that the woman must get a washing machine.
Tell me about it.
And what does it take to wash together? It doesn't take anything. If it's a loving kind of relationship, you know. I spoke about the core needs, you know. So the typical core need of a man are those three. And the typical core need of it doesn't mean that women don't like peace or support and stuff like that. What it means is core for men. The typical core needs of women is freedom, is appreciation, and admiration. Those three are core for women.
Freedom.
So every woman likes support, peace, and all that. But the core, you know, women love support, but they're 1,000 in one. That is why women, you know, are able to do many things at a time and stuff like that. So everybody needs that, but the core of the core for everybody is for women is appreciation,
Freedom.
freedom. Everyone wants to be free. Even if a woman is rising at work, it's really not the rising at work, but the fact that she becomes free the more she rises.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to admiration, every woman wants to be admired. So, for example, this morning, for example, you are looking very, very, very
blue.
You know, very, very great, right? You know, and you took time. I'm sure you woke up very, very early in the morning. Took about an hour to be able to look like this.
Thank you.
But we woke up, you know, admiration is really not our thing. We woke up, Charlie, it's just 5 minutes, we move. But a woman necessarily has to be admired. I'm saying this because for everybody you are in a relationship with, one of the three is the chorus of the core for them.
Oh.
And that becomes the reason why they are pursuing you.
And it varies?
It varies. So for some men, for a certain man, his growth has created a gap for the need of peace. So they are always driven towards a woman who gives them peace.
Rather than
Their problem is not pleasure or support.
They rather like the peace more.
So they are driven towards a woman who is driven towards more, a man who admires her. It means that is the gap in their growth.
Woo! Yeah, they freedom. Freedom.
So everybody and the gaps in their growth. If you meet a man who is pleasure seeking, you realize there's a gap in growth when it comes to pleasure whilst growing up. So we are all driven, but they pay. A man who likes peace will make you free. A woman who loves admiration is likely to be driven towards pleasure-seeking men, because it's the pleasure-seeking men who will make you feel good about yourself. Oh, by him, I papa. Hey, so they are the pleasure-seeking men. So a woman who loves to be admired is likely to be attracted towards a pleasure-seeking man. Then again, a man who necessarily meets the core of the core is support. They likely are the ones who appreciate women a lot, because the more they appreciate, the more they receive their support. So there are gaps in people's growth. Yeah. And all those gaps is the reason why they pursue you. So when you are in a relationship with someone, listen to what they talk about more and what becomes the consistent source of conflict. And you will know their core need and why they are there. For example, if a man is always talking about sex, always talking about intimacy, pleasure, and any time they come, that is all. If you don't get, they're angry. They are pleasure-seeking men because there's a gap in their growth. A man who is always asking, there is a gap. So you may meet a certain man who is self-made. They don't need your support. They don't need everything. They will come and they will tell you, what are you bringing to the table? Right? Because they are already, they don't really need you. They don't really need anything. So that man, for example, may just be in your life for pleasure, because that's the gap in their life.
Wow.
That is gap. So the question you asked, that why red flags and people still go, it is the core need that drives them towards you. But in marriage, it goes beyond core needs because you have a full package. So a spouse who is able to meet the core needs and more is likely to be satisfied with the spouse.
Wow.
And if their core need is met, they may ignore the others. Ah, papa, wait. Obumi nanso omami asumdwi.
Wait.
Obumi nanso mi hia hwe wo wiasim. So they are there. So if Obo, now say your core need is also not met, moving out is so easy. Ah, now we're crying for soon.
Tell me about it.
And I said, even a spouse who is not satisfied with the spouse, because no, you do everything but the core need.
Wow.
Yes, oh yes, I remember. You know. Okay. So that's Isaac, Dr. Isaac Newman, or a medical doctor, or a clinical psychologist, and or a PRO, and so Emma Ghana Clinical Association. ANSMP. You need na me ma fa womness and a cracker in an say obi a den should be a dear. And munatain just as quick as yet. You ask why. That is all that I have taken. You ask why because nipa mugu ahodro nipa ni or whatever they say. Say obi a den should be a dear just say bibi wo you know. Nini na kyerɛ sɛ ɛwɔ sɛ wonya obi a obetimi akyerɛ wade obi obetimi akyerɛ wase obi obetimi enemu mienu atena se edi nkomo obi wɔ no mu a oni obi wɔ hɔ Valentine ba bɛbɛ nsɛm pii we dey me kra dem bedum before nsɛm pii because edu ba bi obi wɔ no mu an ne te sɛ he doesn't communicate bi an wontimi ne nim sa nkomo na wo pɛ no ɛwɔ sɛ obi foforo eni di nkomo sa obi foforo ni di nkomo a problem bi a na asɛm bi a wɔ hɔ bi a na bɛba ama wo wate ho ase. And we keep trying. We are saying, baby, someone mark me date bear 5. Hey, sister, you are continuing. You may date you know, it means you keep doing. You're not really listening to yourself or listening to the other or observing certain things. People are so afraid to be by themselves, and I don't know why. Me, I love myself. I don't know why you're afraid not to be by yourself. But anyway, in it's a month of love. Everybody says so. So when you're or partner being chocolate, into preserving your mental health when love goes wrong. And these are the things you must know. There's love, there's like, there's lust, but let's stick to the like and the love, and then do not, you know, when it's likeness, let it be there. When it's love, let it be there. Men feel like and then conquer, share love, and then later on find yourself in some way. I have learned a lot. Alex has learned more than I have, but he will not actually say it because he's that reserved.
No, I've learned that nowadays, if you meet somebody, you should ask about their core need.
Oh, no anymore, brah.
They all know.
I see.
I mean, Shelby Bray, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I heard that you're going someplace. Yes, I will talk about love.
I work at a University of Professional Studies.
Oh.
There's a clinic in there, University of Professional Studies. It's a very good place. So usually when I find people, where do we find you? That's where you can find University of Professional Studies.
Okay.
And it's not PR of clinical, it's Ghana Psychological Association.
Oh, Ghana Psychological Association. I beg your pardon.
So,
you know, so say a person who are University of Professional
Studies. They have
a
clinic in there.
Clinic what your?
I'm the one in charge.
I don't know guess if the boys see. Because you know the youth.
Yeah.
You know. But I really appreciate what you do. Really, you. I hope so. More motivate. No, I've learned so much because me, I'm a metehano.
I've learned a lot to myself.
Oh, you have?
I listen to myself a lot.
Oh yeah.
Final assessment. Last by next let me balance not the end this way.
Oh, correct.
I'm perfect.
You're so imbalanced. Okay, so thank you so much.